Hi, this is Master Cleveland again from Classic Taekwondo. Some things that I figured I should clear up in case there's any confusion. A few comments I got in the past. I thought it was time that I would just point out one simple thing. The whole purpose of this video series is not for people to come on and watch the forums and then think that they're going to get graded. No, that's not what I'm doing here. I intend to have a physical location. Now, the videos themselves are simply a reference. I mean, honestly, unless you have an instructor in front of you who's showing you these things, you may learn how to do something, how it's done, but when it comes down to understanding why certain things done, like forms, for instance, if you look at karate or you look at taekwondo, every form has multiple meanings for the movements. A lot of schools will just teach you one thing. Like, for instance, you look at a form like Chun-Ji. The first movement is turn the head to the left, low defense, step and front punch. There's multiple meanings for what's going on. It's not simply turn, block, and punch. I'll get more into that later, but in the next video, you'll start to see more of what I mean by that. But if you're not in front of an instructor who's actually showing you how to do these things and they're able to spot check when you're making little errors, and I mean, if you're just looking to go to competition, you want to get the movements right. But if you want to learn technique properly for your self-defense, you have to learn it properly. There's times where a sloppy technique might save you from getting hurt, but the thing is, if you're really looking to learn an art, you want to make sure that when you're learning it, that the techniques go from becoming okay, I know how to do it, to okay, I know how to do it well and understand a little bit, to the point where it's just an instinct. You look at white belts to orange belts, they're learning how to do it. Green belts, they know, green belts on to blue, they know how to do it, and they're now zeroing in on getting it neat and somewhat effective. And when you hit brown and red and up to black, it's becoming more of an instinct. It just happens. At the black belt levels, that your basics should be such that they just happen. I mean, if you're struggling with basics, there's no way you should be a black belt. When I look at the video series itself, I'm doing it in a small space that's maybe the third the size of a normal school. So a lot of my movements end up being condensed. Make no mistake about when I'm doing forms. I mean, forms are one of my favorite things, although they're not the only thing I do. I understand why they work. But the point is, I'm adjusting for the lack of space. Plus the fact the person who's filming it is holding a phone, which is what we're using to film it. I don't think we've done too badly with this, but I'm looking at distances and I'm also focusing on a person that's there and trying not to hit them. It's just what it is. But as time rolls on, when we start moving into and starting with the program itself, you'll start to see more. The reason I call this classic Taekwondo is because a lot of people seem to think that you see what they do in the Olympic and you see what they do in some other schools where it's just about competition or it's just about a performance. Taekwondo started off as a martial art. And really it still is. It's just that the emphasis that you see is usually what's emphasized in the school. If they're always chasing trophies, many times, not all the time, but many times you'll get really watered down technique. It may look flashy, but the focus is on competition. As where if you go to a more standard, or some we call traditional or classical system of Taekwondo, you're starting to learn techniques that work. for defense. That's where the dividing line has come many years for between Taekwondo and Tang Sudo. They're almost the same system in a lot of ways, although there's differences. If your instructor's looking for competition, looking to do competition, that's going to be your focus. Your techniques are going to be different. What I find is disappointing in some of those schools is they focus so much on it that they seem to forget that it's not just a sport. I'm not saying I'm trying to rectify what other people have done. There's folks out there far better than me, and I'm not too proud to admit that. But I've been at this long enough to understand that, yeah, I understand it enough to know that my students are going to understand how this art works. They're going to see both sides of it. But again, my main reason for doing this video is just to point out the fact that this is not a video program where you can get promotion online. That's not what this is. Those are simply references. Some forms you might not have seen before. Some of them, a lot of Taekwondo schools are either ITF or WTF. I'm sorry, WT. You don't see a whole lot of middle ground. Once in a while, you might see guys who are doing American Taekwondo Association, but you don't see a lot of that. And the older Taekwondo Mudokwan, Chungdokwan, using the old Pyongan or Pinan forms, you don't see a lot of them. They're out there, but you don't see a lot of them. I learned from a Taekwondo Mudokwan instructor at one point, and that's why you see the forms that also appear in Tang Sudo, although there are some slight differences. But again, finally, I'll get back to the point. I'm not here to do a video course where you're getting promotions online. The best way for a student to learn is to get in front of an instructor that's able to show them how the technique is done and show them when they're making a mistake that if it comes down to them needing it for self-defense, they're doing it properly. They're doing it in such a way that will actually benefit them instead of put them in more danger than they were in a few seconds ago. There will be more to come. My next couple of videos will be in a day or two. In any case, if you like what you see here, send a like and subscribe. More to come.